I thought that once parents have got their programs and their books and they've had box day and unpacked everything and the schoolroom's all sorted out, it doesn't take long for doubts to creep in, or things to niggle at a new homeschooling mom, or even a mom who's homeschooled for a while. And I thought that we should maybe isolate some of those things and talk about how moms can continue to be confident in the choices that they've made for their year ahead. So why don't you start off with one of the things that you've learned, either from yourself or others, that hammer away at your peace in your home?
I think it's always that conditioning that we've come through a school system that's designed to measure academic success. And we tend to think that that's what we should be focusing on. And, if our children are successful academically, then we think that they're going to succeed in life. But that's actually a lie. And so Ken Robinson is a great guy he's passed away, but he did some great talks that challenged that and said how, that system isn't really true. We need to allow more creativity and, not just on the maths and the science and the languages, but, there's the school, that real life is far more diverse than school. But I think we forget that because that's what we were taught and it was imprinted into us. So as homeschooling parents, while we are doing academics, we need to realize that a more balanced outlook is to look at the whole child and the whole world that we live in, where everybody's different. And some people are really business minded and problem solvers, and some are good nurturers, and some are very creative. And so we mustn't just focus on the books.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Maybe if you, I know that you'll remember the example that Marty Duplessis gave about a tripod. Maybe you share that little story as well about getting balance. It's really a good example.
Yeah, it's a brilliant example. So for those that are new to homeschooling, Marty Duplessis is an amazing woman. She was one of the pioneers in home education. And she now does homeschool consultations for parents who are wanting to follow a more eclectic, freeing route. But she also does amazing seminars, and a lot of them tend toward parenting and mentoring of moms. So within that context, the one time we went to one of her talks, and she showed a tripod and how the tripod has to stand evenly on each leg so that the camera can balance, that it can take a proper in-focus picture. She said that her experience with homeschoolers is that they tend to create a very strong academic leg, which is one of the legs of the tripod, but they forget about the other side of the child or the person, which is worthiness and belonging. And she said, when we start working only on the academic, you've got this tripod that's sort of squiff and your picture is going to be blurred, out of focus, etc. So you're not developing the whole child, is the analogy. But when you work on their sense of belonging as part of a family unit, understanding who they are in God, their purpose, that sort of thing, and also their worthiness, give them skills that they can use in the home and that sort of thing. They then develop into a much more rounded person. So bringing it back to the topic of remaining confident in your choice to homeschool for the year, is that don't measure your success only by how many worksheets you do in a day, or whether you've got something pretty to put up on the wall, or how nicely you can boast on Instagram or Facebook about what your children achieved. Because all of that stuff is window dressing, and a lot of the stuff that you do with your children when they are in their preteen years only shows up later. We both got kids that are in their 20s and starting to see that personhood come through. And we can't rush it. We don't have to make our kids kind of peak now. They don't have to be doing everything, now. They've got time. One of the things that I seem to be carrying on here, but one of the things that I've realized is that a lot of parents say, yes, but they've got to get up at a certain time and they've got to do a certain amount of pages and they have to do exams and do this and that and the next thing because that's the way the real world works. Well, it really depends on what your real world is. Out of the 6 in our home, only 2 are employed outside of the home. The others have their own businesses or have partnered in businesses with us. They get up in time for their day to start. Some of them, because they are night owls, they like working later into the night and then starting later in the morning. My husband and I have been self-employed forever. We walk our dogs every day until 8 o'clock. Then we do a workout, and then we have lunch at 10, breakfast at 10 o'clock in the morning. Our life runs according to our clock. So it's not that there aren't going to be people that are needing to be at the bank at 8 o'clock to open the door. But there's a variety of people and situations that you're preparing your kids for.
Yes, and different people will choose the kind of job that suits their kind of personality and their lifestyle. Yeah. So that's a great thing to remember. I think another thing is to always listen to which voices are you listening to in your own head. We've all got people in our communities or our families or the people we see on social media making comments about different educational options. And just today, I've been responding to somebody who comes from a teaching background, and she's got her ideas about what is required and why exams are important, and she's an academic and her kids are highly gifted academically. So for them, that's important. But I can imagine that some other mom reading what she's posting on Facebook might feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not measuring up. My kids don't write exams. How do I know they're learning? How are they going to get into university? How are they going to get a job one day? And this lady's saying that you've got to do those things because how are you going to cope with the pressure in the real world if you can't even cope with the pressure of school and the classroom and all those things? Yeah. And that's her world and her experience. As I keep referring to Sir Ken Robinson today because I just went and read an article about him, and I love some of the things that he said. And he says that school system is designed by the academics, and they're the ones who succeed in that system and come out on top and become the teachers and the professors who then perpetuate that system. Yeah. But that's only one aspect of the whole world that we live in. Right. Some people go into business, or they become self-employed, or they become, there's different ways to succeed. But if you're in that system, you believe in it, and you think that that's the way to do things, and you must be measured, and you must perform, and you must make the grade, and then you're going to be successful, and you're going to clock in when school starts, and you're going to clock out when school starts. So those things for you are important. It maybe suits your personality type. But a person like that just unravels somebody who's not like that. Yeah. So you've got to choose not to listen to that voice and find your own path.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's so many critics out there, and I think that a lot of homeschooling moms suffer from their own critic. They need to understand that they are not going to be doing everything perfectly. I mean, I can count numerous mistakes that I've made with my children, with my choices.
You're not perfect? You're not perfect?
No, surprise. But, I think just coming up with that understanding, we are not perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I might lose my rag with my kids, or I might make the wrong choice with an Afrikaans program, or I might choose a rotten tutor to help here. And those things are all part of your homeschooling journey. So acknowledging upfront, I'm not actually going to get it right 100% of the time.
Yeah.
It's still that inner critic. And then, we've always said, if you've chosen a program, and the program is just not working for you, put it in a cupboard, forget about it, sell it secondhand, move on, find something that is better. The last thing that I was going to say from my side in terms of being confident in your choices, we spoke last week, I think it was, about comparing yourself and that comparison trap that you fall into. And it's a challenge, but we don't have to rehash that here, but just to refer parents back to the other video on that. Final thought?
I think I would just add, a lot of moms are performers themselves, so they like to do things right, and when you're homeschooling, you don't have the teacher marking your child's homework and saying, Johnny got all his maths right today, well done mommy, you get an A for supervising. And you don't have your kids writing exams and getting great results that you can tell the grandparents and the neighbors and your friend who's a teacher how well your kid is doing. And so you're left with this constant feeling of like you've got no proof that you're succeeding, especially in those early years. And that can make your confidence flounder because it just leaves you feeling unsure and insecure. And like I said,
am I doing enough question? I think we've got an article on that on our website as well. Am I doing enough? Yeah, well, that's fantastic. And then just again, a reminder to the folks that are viewing that we have our live stream coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. That's where you can come.
This is real life.
Yeah, real life happens. We've got a live stream happening Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, 7:30 to 9 each evening. We've got other homeschool moms that are going to be joining us and talking. We're going to do, which is going to be exciting. Nice to get somebody else besides our two talking heads. We're going to go through our programs and just really encourage moms to get a positive start to 2021. So yeah, well, I hope that was encouraging to everybody. Nice chatting again, Shirley.
See you soon.